Hello. In this video lecture, we're going to be talking about hospital-based PCS procedures to treat neoplasms. Neoplasms are treated using a wide variety of both surgical and non-surgical procedures. In PCS, these procedures are coded primarily to the medical and surgical section and in the administration section. So the key is when you want to get started on these is think about what the objective of the procedure is. That will direct you towards the correct root operation. And then from there on, it's just a matter of understanding all the terms in the operative record and then following the tables. Let's take a look and code some procedures for neoplasms. Again, neoplasms, we use a wide range of these. Most of them are in the medical and surgical section. Some of them are in the administrative section. When we talk about surgical procedures, we're talking about things, excisions, resections, destructions. So it's really critical to understand the difference between an excision and a resection, right? So you may want to review those chapter 3 root operations if you're unclear. To be very clear here, excision is cutting out or off without a replacement a portion of a body part, right? And it could be like a biopsy, right? That's an excision, right? And you use qualifier X to indicate that the biopsy is a diagnostic procedure, right? And again, when we look at excision, resection, and destruction, the three most common root operations, it all is based on how much of the body part is removed or whether there's any tissue that's remaining for pathology. Resection is cutting out the entire body part. This is typically a therapeutic procedure performed to remove an entire tumor or an infected body part. And so it's very important, and new coders get confused with an excision versus resection. Bear in mind, an excision is a part of a body part, a portion of it. A resection is cutting out the entire body part, like a prostatectomy. Those are resections. Destruction is destroying something, right? Seems pretty straightforward. But if you think about it, most of the time, anytime we take something out, it goes to pathology and then they prepare it, put it under the microscope and study it. With destruction, you're physically eradicating the tissue using heat, cold, laser, chemicals, whatever it is. And because the tissue is destroyed, there's nothing to be sent to pathology. So if nothing is sent to pathology in the operating note, in that case, you know it was destruction. And we'll get away from medical and surgical and we'll talk about administration. There we go. And so a common one is this anti-neoplastic chemotherapy or chemo, and it's coded from the administration section. And as your textbook describes, it's introduction, right? Because the substance is being introduced into the body. And in the index, the main term is introduction of a substance in or on. And the subterm identifies the location, such as the central or peripheral vein. And the approach is usually percutaneous because a needle is inserted through the skin. And the sixth character identifies the substance that's being infused with the value 0 used for anti-neoplastic drugs, right? Character 7 may specify the specific type of chemical, such as a monoclonal antibody. You always want to review the medication administration record in addition to the procedure note, also take a look at the infusion log, and you have to confirm the substance that was infused and the route of the administration, whether it was peripheral vein, central vein, infusion port, what have you. Those will all make a difference in your PCS code. And that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you online. Bye now.